Tessa is shown going through her wardrobe and putting on makeup. She seems like she can't find a look that she enjoys. She is then shown awakening with Hardin gazing down at her, touching her face and getting some information about. She awakens and understands that was a fantasy. Noah comes for an unexpected visit Tessa. And they go to a huge fire. Everybody meets Noah, and they sit down. Hardin is drinking, agonizing and annoyed with seeing Noah and Tessa together. Molly proposes they play suck and blow. They each pass a playing card to one another mouth by mouth until Jace deliberately drops his right as Tessa inclines in. Jace keeps on making a pass at her, while Noah advises him to ease off timidly. Hardin leaps off the log across the fire and punches Jace, and they start to battle. They have pulled separated and Hardin stomps off into the dull. Tessa and Noah are then laying together in her room sitting and watching TV. Noah falls asleep, and Tessa gets a text from Landon requesting her assistance. Tessa shows up at Landon's home and sees the kitchen in chaos, glasses broken. She asks what occurred. Landon says that Hardin came over in fury, plastered and began crushing things. He referenced Tessa's name in the midst of his outburst, and that is the reason Landon messaged her to come over figuring she could quiet him down. Tessa goes out back to the pool region where Hardin is sitting making efforts of alcohol. Hardin appears to be astonished to see her. She lets him know she figured he didn't drink. He says he doesn't or didn't. He says the wreck he made inside was his festival for his father declaration that he is getting married to Landon's mother while his mother lives in unfortunate circumstances in London. He offers her a beverage, however she will not say that he likely has had enough. He drops the container, and it breaks. Tess twists down to get the glass shard against Hardin's desires, and she cuts her hand. He takes her upstairs to tidy up her injury. Hardin apologizes for the manner in which he treated her. He says that he assumes he has changed his perspective on dating and tells her he is a wreck. Tessa says that they both are wreck. He tells her that she never needs to cover up. Not for him. They fall asleep close to one another. Tessa wakes in the early morning and understands her misstep. She surges back to her residence where she sees Noah outside on his telephone attempting to contact her. He realizes that something is going on, however his doubts are affirmed when he sees Hardin approaching them contending. Tessa attempts to account for herself, yet Noah is excessively upset and leaves. She advises Hardin to return home and returns to her dorm. She lets Steph know that she and Noah have recently separated and Steph consoles her. Tessa is shown unfortunately strolling around campus, disregarding texts from her mother about the Noah separate and Hardin inquiring as to why she is not speaking to him. She appears at Hardin's fraternity house one night after he messaged her to come over. They sit on the rooftop beyond his window and discuss her dad leaving when she was close to nothing. She likewise discusses how terrible she feels for how she treated Noah. She says that Noah is her best friend, however Hardin is a lot more. We next see Tessa in the library similarly as it is shutting. Hardin creeps up behind her, and they stow away from the safety officer. Hardin read to Tessa in the dark, locked library. They hear the watchman returning again and make a run for itself and barely getting away from inconvenience. They lay on the ground and clasp hands. Hardin comes up behind her in darkened stargazing class and tells her how wonderful she is. They sit in her bed and begin to play around. Carol comes blasting through the dorm and becomes agitated about what she has seen. Tessa follows her mother a few doors down, and they argue. Carol thinks she is committing a major error with Hardin and stresses that she is undermining her future. Tessa makes sense of that her mom has been excessively controlling of her life, and she needs freedom. She threatened Tessa that she will cut her off if she doesn't end her relationship with Hardin, which she refuses, and she leaves cautioning her that Hardin will break her heart. Landon and Tessa discuss her getting removed by her mom as a result of Hardin. He cautions that Hardin is dangerous, however Tessa says that he is different around her. Tessa is seen getting gotten beyond the cafe by Hardin. She asks about where he has been, and he advises her to get in, and he will show her. He takes her to an exquisite condo around. He has agreed to water a friend of his dad's plants while he is out of the country for a year. He makes reference to that they should live there together since she has been cut off. They move in and hanging together, falling more in love. They go to an aquarium where Hardin is taking pictures of her. Tessa tells him that there isn't anything that could impact the manner in which she feels about him. They go to his father's wedding, and Hardin is naturally tense. Tessa at last meets Landon's mother Karen. They sit down, and his father dispatches into a discourse. Hardin then starts informing Tessa regarding the reason why he has a dangerous relationship with liquor and his dad. His dad used to be an alcoholic who might get into shady business, battles, conflicts at bars. One night his father messed with some dangerous group of men, and when they came searching for him at their home, they tracked down his mother, all things being equal. Hardin says that he attempted to fight to them, yet he was unable to stop them. They dance and kiss. They return to their condo kissing each other as they enter. Tessa lets him know that she needs him now, and Hardin looks excited. They start to engage in sexual relations. The following day they are sitting in the shower and Hardin is tracing words on her back for her to figure. He finger follows, "I love you," yet she doesn't sort it out. Molly stands up to Tessa in the restroom after class and gets some information about her BF. Tessa tells her that they separated. Molly says that it appears as though she moves on quickly and that Hardin shared with her that they had been hanging out. Tessa affirms that they had been hanging out and Molly said she's happy, causing Tessa a deep sense of shock. Tessa is reading a book in their condo when Hardin's telephone continues to get messages. Tessa gets his telephone and sees that they are from Molly. Molly advises Hardin to meet them at a bar at 9 p.m., inquires as to whether he said Tessa at this point, and afterwards says perhaps she will tell Tessa. Hardin strolls in the room, and Tessa confronts him about the texts. Hardin says he has no clue about what Molly is referring to and afterwards says he is leaving. Tessa flies off the handle that he is leaving in their middle of fight, yet Hardin asked as to whether she believes him and she does. Tessa is sitting at home sometime thereafter, and Hardin won't return her texts. She gets a text from Jace advising her to meet him at another bar, and he will tell her where Hardin is. She shows up and sees Hardin's car. She gets into it, however it is Jace inside. She requests to know where Jace is. He tells her perhaps he is at Bob's. She sees Molly, Zed, Steph eating at a table. She moves toward them, and Steph says she hasn't seen her since she moved out. Tessa lets that group know that she has been living with Hardin off grounds and Molly gives her a look. They look confused about how serious their relationship has become. Jace strolls in with Hardin who looks embarrassed and frightened that Tessa is there. Molly begins let Hardin know how Tessa has been giving them every one of the insights regarding their relationship and how charming they are. She inquires as to whether there's anything he needs to tell Tessa. Tessa adds and asked as to whether anything is happening among him and Molly. Hardin denies this. Tessa doesn't trust him, and she says that she saw the texts. Hardin says they made very little difference to him, and he didn't actually answer back. Molly asked as to whether he thinks this thing has gone excessively far. Hardin advises Molly to quiet down and requests that Tessa leave with him. Molly inquires as to whether she recollects truth or dare. Hardin and Zed attempt to stop Molly, however she takes out her telephone showing Tessa a video of the night that she dismissed Hardin. After Tessa had stomped out of the room, Hardin says has another challenge, that he can get Tessa to fall head over heels for him and afterwards switch it off as he snaps his fingers. Hardin begins to cry, while Molly tells her it was all a game. Hardin says that this was recorded prior to everything before he got to know her. Tessa checks out the table at everybody inquiring as to whether it is valid. They all stay away from eye-to-eye connection. Tessa gets up from the table and went out with Hardin following behind her. They contend in the downpour, and she calls him a liar. He lets her that know this was all previously and she removes him saying it was before he snapped his fingers and switched it off. Hardin bring up the fact that what she said him in aquarium that nothing could change how she feels about him, to which Tessa says they both are liars. Tessa returns home, she makes up with her mother and doesn't tell her about the bet and goes to apologize to Noah who is still at soccer practice. Noah tells her it's alright because school is about finding yourself, and he is also dating now. They choose to remain friends. She goes to class and moves once again into the dorm. She goes to classes while Hardin sits in his room looking miserable, thinking back about the main night they practically kissed. She applies for an internship which she found out about from Chancellor Scott and is invited for an interview. On the last day of class, Teacher Soto is excusing everybody. She requests Tessa to remain behind and gives her Hardin's final project saying that it was implied something else for her. She banters with Landon whether she should open it. And when she does, she sees photos of her in the lake. She reads his article about adoration and chooses to go to the lake where they shared their most memorable kiss. In a voiceover, Hardin is discussing the way that he has found his Elizabeth Bennet and how their spirits are very much the same. He requests pardoning. He shows up behind her and sits down close to her on the dock. Hardin said that she had once asked him whom he loved the most in this world, and he says, "It's you." If you like the video, then please subscribe and like butter halves. See you next time.